It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
It's going to work just like any one of my teammates. Hold him accountable, and he should hold me accountable when I do things, not right. For me, I probably would hold him at a higher standard because I want him to be great. I want him to be as great as he can be.
Hold him accountable, PK. Bronny James, how is he going to do that?
I
How's
think we
that
got
possibly
breaking
going to work?
news. LeBron's done something wrong? Wow. That's incredible to find out. I didn't know that.
First thing, make shots. How's that shooting slump coming along?
Oh, yeah, it's 15 years now. I got to stop with this, man.
I know.
I feel bad for the kid in a sense. Like he's under the spotlight.
Yeah, in a way, no second-round pick is ever under the spotlight.
He's doing the best he can. He's just not that good. Maybe down the line. It's just too much. Just back off. I mean, the Connect kid the other night looked really good. Their first-round pick out of Tennessee via Northern Colorado in a junior college. And I think he has an opportunity to really help that team because when you've got somebody like a LeBron who's going to draw so much attention and can, with the handles he has and his ability to get to the basket, shooters are going to be open. I remember when Corver was traded to Cleveland and they said, ask LeBron, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to pass him the ball. Yeah.
Pass him the ball, make open shots.
LeBron's basketball IQ is pretty doggone high. So if you got a player who can make shots, that's going to help you. So I thought that was a good pick. I would think it was around 16 in the middle there somewhere. And being able to have somebody who can score led the SEC in scoring, if I remember correctly. So I'd rather focus on that.
Make some shots.
Yeah, which is what he can do.
How about for a first-round pick on the Lakers, you get to be under the radar in a way you think you never would?
For now. I mean, I think once Bronny
goes
with the South Bay
once
team.
Bronny goes to the G League,
yeah,
and the Lakers are in Game 20 and someone needs to make a shot, then he'll be in the spotlight.
Right.
Jazz in Vegas, they won Saturday. They beat Dallas 90-89. Cody Williams had 21. Jazz and the Kings tonight, 8 o'clock. Cody Williams, that's what you wanted to see, right? I know, just getting started, but...
Oh, sure, yeah. Just start asserting yourself. Don't force it, but assert yourself in the right moments and flicking back and forth between baseball and that game on Saturday. It's a summer league game, but, he's still just 19 years old. He looks like such a baby. And to see him do that, that's a positive sign. You're looking for positive signs. You're not going to go nuts. But you'd rather have that than 2 for 9 or something.
The rest of the NBA news, the NBA Cup in-season tournament groups have been revealed. Imagine our excitement. Group B. Lakers, Suns, Spurs, and Thunder. Play begins November 12th.
In the big picture, it's nothing. In the moment, it's something.
Will this be the year that somebody wins it and doesn't fire their coach?
Yes.
Lakers won the first one. Lakers fired their coach. Denver Nuggets saw first-round draft pick Deron Holmes tear his Achilles in his summer league debut. He is out for the season.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, setbacks go. That's a brutal one right
He's
there.
He's a Phoenix kid, and they were looking for a big man to help him. And that sucks for the kid.
Jalen Brunson is the hero in New York. He's agreed to a 4-year, $156 million contract extension, $113 million less guaranteed than he's eligible to sign for, all to give the Knicks flexibility as they seek to build a true title contender. Unprecedented financial concession on Brunson's part.
That just means he's not going to be able to live in New York.
Ayo. $156 million, you can't pull it off?
You're going to get way out of the burbs, even past me in Jersey, and I was only like 30 miles away. It costs a lot to live there.
Knick fans loving Jalen Brunson. He definitely won the press conference with that one, even if it was just an announcement.
I mean, he's mentally tough.
DJ PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Tell you what, you're having a lot more fun when you're not getting shipped off to different places like a piece of dirty laundry. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So when I got embraced in Tampa, it made a world of difference. And yes, it is my job, but I love it so much. So why not? I've always wore my emotions on my sleeves, and so let people embrace that. And that's why I'm so excited for having more years to come in Tampa, for people to just get to know me a little bit better, truly realize that that's not just a show on the field. That's who I am when it comes down to the football aspect, and I love it. I do anything for our team, and our locker room guys know that.
There's Baker Mayfield, Bucs quarterback. They love him in Tampa. They went 9-8. It wasn't a great year, but hey, make yourself beloved in the community. Go on the air and tell people how much you love it there. And after all, he bounced around. 9-8 was a step forward. It probably was a lot more fun than he had the last few years in the NFL.
Way to go, Bake.
Minnesota Vikings star wide receiver Justin Jefferson was arrested Friday near LAX on suspicion of driving under the influence. The California Highway Patrol releasing a report. The West LA officer found a white Rolls-Royce blocking a lane of I-105 westbound to Sepulveda, and the driver, later identified as Addison, was asleep behind the wheel. The incident comes 5 days after Minnesota rookie Kyrie Jackson was killed in a car crash with alcohol involved in that.
You telling me it wasn't a Honda Civic?
It was not a Honda Civic. The white Rolls is not the Honda Civic. Former Ravens wide receiver Jacoby Jones, known for the Mile High Miracle as well as his starring role in the Ravens' 2012 Super Bowl run, passed away at the age of 40 in New Orleans. No cause of death announced with that. 40. Way young. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Braden had the same kind of offers. If you have enough evidence, you can prove it, but smoking gun. He said guy from Kansas State called him, offered him $600,000 because they lost their quarterback, and if he got in the portal. And I'm not accusing Kansas State of anything. I'm just telling you what the kid told me. And so if they don't want their name thrown in it, I think they should probably get a handle on their people. But there's a lot of that going on in college football, and that's just the way things are right now.
That's Colorado State's Jay Norville putting names on something we've heard about. But
I'm not saying you suck, but you suck.
And if you don't want your name on it,
come on,
get a handle on your people.
Yes, you is.
I wouldn't mind a little more of that. There's supposed to be a lot of that going on. Let's just have people out there naming names.
So
Let's
what?
go.
Well, what's the big deal?
No, it's entertaining.
I mean, right, but what's
it
the
doesn't
big deal?
matter. It is happening, right?
Yeah.
Why is Jay mad? Because it is happening to other people.
Well, then go poach somebody else. Go down to the Big Sky. There's plenty of Big Sky players that can help you.
Former Northwestern offensive coordinator Mike Bajakian is suing the school for defamation and spreading false information for its actions during the hazing scandal that rocked the program last summer. He's currently an analyst for the Utes, and his lawsuit claims he lost the chance to have his contract renewed, could not land comparable employment, and suffered reputational damage. Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel, the new betting favorite to win the Heisman, passing Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers and Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. Change coming in July. A little unusual here, but there you go. Dylan Gabriel for the Heisman. Let it begin. SEC Media Days begin today in Dallas. 4 days, 16 teams. Now, you had to do 8 teams a day in a 2-day, 16-team media day. Could you have used an extra day or two to focus on some of these? Was there too much going on? No. Or was this getting strung out forever at 4 teams, 16 days? 4 teams per day, getting through the 16 teams over 4 days.
That seems very long. No, I thought that they could have tightened it up. I mean, we didn't start. They didn't start sending people up on the podium till 11 a.m. Get going.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
A flare out to left field. Starting in is Verdugo. Now has to go back. He has to go back, and he misjudged it. It is over his head, and the Orioles slide is going to end. Mullins is your hero. The Orioles walk it off 6-5.
Ramirez will field. Goes to third. Throws it into left field. Here comes Malloy. He'll score, and the Tigers walk it off for the second straight day.
Here's Geloff. He swings and he slams one to deep left center field on its way, and it is a grand slam. And there's the record tying home run. The 8th of the day for the Athletics going back to 1996, and the Athletics now lead it 18-3.
Yaz around second, digging for third, and standing at third on a wild throw. The throw goes out of play, and this ball game is over. A Little League home run to wrap it up.
Giants walk it off against the Twins, 3-2. Mike Yastrzemski. They gave 2 errors on the play. I guess that would have at least been a tough catch out there in the outfield, diving for it and all that. But the throw to third was ridiculous. So the Little League homer, 2 errors on the play. And Yastrzemski scores the game winner. Giants beat the Twins 3-2. Also walking it off, Detroit beating the Dodgers. The Dodgers' woes continue. Tigers beat the Dodgers 4-3. If you were a Dodger fan, would you be more depressed by that? Or you were mentioning last week, 18 players on the DL and a couple more guys the injured list now, yes. And the injured list is their time. May is now 2 more months or another month on the injured list and back sometime in August.
Dustin May?
Yeah.
He's done for the year.
Well, he's done for the year. Then who got extended into August? Someone got extended into August. There were multiple pitchers with bad news for the Dodgers over the weekend.
I don't know. But, yeah, their starting rotation is shot. So, yeah, I mean, if they're healthy, they still got a 7-game lead.
Yep. The Yankees almost took the division lead playing the Orioles. They needed to win the last game there before the break, and they got 3 in the 9th and took the lead. And then they gave up 3 in the 9th, and they lose to the Orioles 6-5. Cedric Mullins, a 2-run double, walking it off for Baltimore.
They gave him a double on that?
They did.
And Verdugo looked like he was on skates. I thought the Utah hockey team was going to sign him.
Hey-o.
And they had 2 errors, shortstop and then left field. I thought that was an error. I know that he didn't touch the ball, but he badly misplayed it and then fell, tripped all over himself.
Also in there, you heard Oakland, 8 home runs. Of all the teams in the major leagues to pull it off, the A's, huh? Oakland, 8 homers. Most in a game by a Major League Baseball team since 1999, and they crushed the Phillies 18-3.
That happens.
Former Oregon State star Travis Bazzana becomes the first second baseman to be selected number 1 overall in the MLB draft. Cleveland taking him. He had 28 homers in 60 games last year. That's a lot of power for anyone. It's a lot of power for a second baseman.
He's a natural second baseman.
Bees beat the Sacramento River Cats 4-3 last night. Same 2 teams play tonight at 6:30. They do not play tonight at 6:30. Yak, they're off tonight. It's break time. All right, DJ and PK.
Right across the face of goal, and there it is! Spain grab a winner. It's Oyarzabal, who might just have clinched the crown for Spain.
Lo Celso, Lautaro Martinez!
Soccer.
Spain wins the Euros, 4th time, most ever. And then in extra time, Argentina beats Colombia. Messi's ankle. No Messi. He had to leave late in the first half. His ankle's swollen and disgusting looking. And RSL goes to Portland and gets dominated by the Timbers. They get shut out. Timbers roll 3-0. First road loss since the season opener to Miami. And they're back on the road Wednesday night to play LAFC. The top 3 all lost. LA Galaxy lost. LAFC lost, so they're still tied for first. But some nights you don't have it, and they didn't have it. Gave up a goal in the 3rd minute and never got back in it.
I feel bad for you guys.
Thank you. DJ and PK.
#golf.
And he wins a good win, PK, but Robert McIntyre, the birdie putt on the final hole of the Scottish Open, he rolls that in. Adam Scott was already in the clubhouse. He needed the birdie to win.
Adam Scott was on the range.
He needed the birdie. In
case he had to
play in the playoff.
Yeah.
Needed the par for the playoff, but he made the birdie putt. Rolled that thing in. Harry Hall holed out a 45-foot chip on the 3rd playoff hole to win a 5-man playoff at the ISCO Championship. And former BYU golfer Zach Blair was in the playoff, but he was knocked out on the first playoff hole. That is what is trending. It's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, the question of the day is next. And then at 8 o'clock, Steve Cleveland, former Cougar basketball coach. You're intrigued with the recruits keep coming in for BYU. This is 5 international guys. Half the team is brand new. It's awesome to have talent, and they apparently do. The idea to blend that into a team. We'll talk with Steve Cleveland about that at 8 o'clock. And Jay Drew, Cougar beat writer for the D News, joins us at 8:30. His impressions of Big 12 Media Day. That's with Jay at 8:30. The question of the day next, right here on The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
The rivalry's back.
Yeah, man.
You know, and a lot of people have their opinions on that, for and against, listening right now. But it's inevitable. That game on November 9th is going to be bigger than it's ever been. No matter what BYU's situation is, no matter what Utah's situation is, because they're going to be playing in the Big 12, in a Power 4 conference, on a national stage. This rivalry's never had this kind of attention before. And I'm hoping, and I feel pretty confident that game's going to have a lot of meaning, one way or the other.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes with Toast brought to you by Siegfried & Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning. The Utes think they can get into the football playoff and possibly win it all. What do you think? Cougar fans think a lot of things, PK. Patrick, just like they did in the Pac-12.
That's me, by the way.
That's Patrick Pearson. John Eastman, the best laid plans of mice and Utes often go awry. And Mike, they've gone 0-5 in the last 5 bowl games. They're a regular season darling, and then they can't get it done in the postseason. They are the Dallas Cowboys of the NCAA.
So you're going to worry about the Las Vegas Bowl?
Yes, clearly. Brian, I hope not. Donnie, those guys should take it one game at a time.
Oh, they will. They will. All they're talking about is Southern Utah right now.
David says their quarterback's going to go down by Game 5, and they'll finish 9-3.
Not bad.
Didn't play at all last year, and they were 8-4 after 12 games.
You taking 9-3 BYU right now?
Yes. All serious BYU fans are saying yes.
9-3, yeah. There's probably maybe 15 teams that would throw back 9-3.
Tops.
Yeah. That'd be pretty awesome if they went 9-3. And what, he was going to get injured in the 5th game? Is
yes.
That what it was?
So that gets you Oklahoma State. It gives you a chance. You got him.
Well, that just...
And then how far into Game 5? Because that's Arizona.
Well, irregardless, that just sets yourself up for a great 25 season. Coach returns. He's got an established quarterback.
Everybody's back.
Yeah. I mean, and nobody ever graduates up there. I don't know how they do it.
It's a miracle.
They always seem to got one more year. They find it somewhere, man. It's like finding a $20 bill in your winter coat come late fall. Man, I didn't know that was there.
Haven't worn this thing in 7 months. Why is there a 20 in the pocket?
And again, they got another year to go. It's just amazing. Keithy, I did a thing on Friday with the sports bash.
The ultimate sports bash.
Yeah.
How was that? Was that well attended? Are we going to get another one of those? It seems like a good idea.
Yeah. I talked to somebody and they were saying, see how it goes. Right. It was a money situation, obviously. Yeah. And I told them, I said, well, I think that there's something that could grow.
Right.
There. So a lot of stuff going on.
It seems like Comic-Con for sports, and certainly the Comic-Con fans paid the way. That thing's a big deal all over the place. We've seen it here.
I got there a little early, was walking around, and they had merchandise, not just booths, but for all the colleges, and a lot of almost like a satellite bookstore type of thing. Mm-hmm. It was not just like if you go to a baseball game and you walk the concourse, you'll see almost like a little booth, not the team shop, but this was somewhere in between the team shop and a little booth that you would see.
Bigger than a booth, smaller than a store.
Right, but they had a lot, and I went on the air with Scotty and Hans, and I said I'd gotten there a couple hours early, and I was working the Utah State merchandise area, but then some lady came along and fired me.
Did you get a laugh?
Very queasy, but yeah.
Scotty didn't see the humor in that. Hey.
He did. I told him, I said, hey, I got a line, so be ready.
Come on. You got to blindside him.
Well, he didn't know where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Hans was uncomfortable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I thought Hans would find it funnier.
He did.
His BYU employment on those broadcasts not impacted by the Utah State.
There might be another reason, but yeah, I thought it was cool. I don't know what they expected attendance-wise. I mean, I was there from 1:30 to 5 on a Friday.
Right.
So, and I led panel discussions for an hour with Kyle, and then the next hour was Britton Covey and Jaron Hall. And Jaron Hall, I mean, when he turns 35, I would just bag the football stuff. It'd probably be done by then anyway, and just run for president. I mean, that guy, like 4 years old, he's been the most mature guy in a room.
Yeah. wasn't struggling with your questions.
He's just really something, that guy. And, of course, Britton. Everybody loves Britton. They ought to do a sitcom here in Utah.
Everybody loves Britton.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah, he has no enemies.
Well, he's so self-effacing. And everybody roots for the little guy anyway. And then he makes fun of himself all the time.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's like you can't make fun of the guy. He's too busy doing it himself.
Right. I mean, I don't know that he has any enemies. I mean, he's got to be the most beloved Ute among BYU.
Yeah, he's negotiated being on both sides of the rivalry flawlessly.
Yeah. And he had a phenomenal career, and he's so short and so small, and here he is 2 years in the NFL, bearing down on a pension. So, and then at the end, Cam Rising was supposed to be there, but he was sick. Uh-oh. No. He was sick. He was supposed to be the third hour. Kyle said he's sick. Nothing serious. To the crowd. And so it was Junior Tafuna, Dorian Singer, and Brant Keithy, the three of them. Which is sort of cool. Three different guys, three different races, and see how they're teammates and how they can come together. We can all take a lesson from that, that's for sure. But Keithy, man, he was talking. He was talking about, you got to focus on the game, 1-0, blah, blah, blah. But, he's thinking national title. And he really trash-talked BYU. All they do is talk, stuff like that. I'm not sure. I think it's a Donovan Mitchell thing. I mean, was it exhausting to living in Utah because I'm on social media all day long and a bunch of no-name idiots are coming after me?
Right.
Yeah.
Who may or may not be living in Utah, who may or may not be Jazz fans, who may or may not be real people. Let's hear it for bots.
It's exhausting, though.
Yeah.
I get it. When you're constantly looking at your responses and you put yourself out there like he did. But Keithy, man, he was talking. I thought he was trash talking. He was taking no prisoners. So, yeah, they're thinking that they've got a shot. And I suppose they do. They got an excellent shot to make the playoff. And, is it a type of thing when you get in the playoff, anything can happen type of thing? We saw that. Diamondbacks making a World Series last year. We've seen other Cinderellas. Not that they would not very much be a Cinderella, but, if they're going up against Ohio State and Georgia and whatnot,
Texas.
They would somewhat be a Cinderella. I mean, their program, in my mind, is long past the Cinderella stage. If they're playing for the national title or the semis, there'll be national people who will consider them. But I think that's a erroneous perception. But they'll have that because they don't cover them, and then because I don't cover them that much and I don't know that much about them. Boy, man, they're such the underdog. Because that sort of takes the pressure off of you as to why you hadn't covered them. Oh, they're such an underdog. Well, no, they're not. You just think they are because you are not focused on them. And I get it because those guys at that level, you have to play the hits and you have to play
the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, where the fan bases are. So you want ratings and all that stuff. So you have to do. That's just the reason why we're the only show on the station that talks soccer. I mean, it's nice sport and all, but it's not one of the hits because of you two. Nobody else mentions it. So that's the way it goes there. But I don't think that they would be an underdog in those situations, but their program is not. We got a chip on our shoulder, that type of thing. They can claim that, but it's not true. It works both ways. The media can claim, oh, they're so overlooked. It's not true. And the Utah people can not complain, but think that, oh, we're still the underdog. That's not true. If you go up against Georgia and Ohio State, you would be. But in the Big 12, you're not. In the Pac-12, you weren't.
Right. And that's why I think this two-part question gives you two different answers. The Utes think they can get in the football playoff and possibly win it all. What do you think? Of course they can get in the football playoff. You're going to have to be in the top 12. They've been in the top 12. That's doable. It's certainly doable. Of course that would be a goal, and of course they'd be talking about that. Possibly win it all when you threw possibly in there to give it a little wiggle room. But the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be expected to dominate the semifinals and the final. So I think that if you're in a final, certainly you're going to be the underdog and no one's going to believe you. But I really think we're going to see going forward even in the semis. Now, TCU got to a semi. Yeah. It may not have been believed in.
And they won.
And they won a great game with Michigan. Just tons of big plays and touchdowns and points.
But I disagree with you.
And then they got smoked in the final.
If they're in the final and they have beaten Ohio State to get there, and they've got a 25-year-old quarterback who at that point is a few months away from being 26. Are they really that much of an underdog?
They have a quarterback who's older than a third of the NFL starting quarterbacks.
Yeah. So if they get to that point, would they be? If there always has to be a favorite and an underdog.
It would be interesting to see how big an underdog they are because I think it's clear. I think it's clear they'd be the underdog. You're right. It isn't clear to me how big an underdog they'd be. I mean, at that point, we would have seen 14 games and we'll know who's healthy, and it's easier to have that talk.
Yeah.
But the Big Ten or the SEC team is going to be the favorite.
Fine, but so what? I mean, Alabama was probably the favorite when they played them years ago.
In that semi, Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Yeah. Alabama was a big favorite in that game.
Yeah, so...
But Alabama didn't want to be there.
Good. Then they got what they deserved.
Exactly. Take that.
All these things are possible, to quote Kevin Garnett.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. And the season could derail with injuries, but you can say that about any team.
Yep.
Arizona, Fafita goes down. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So go down the list. There's no difference. The only thing there is Cam has had a couple injuries. So
once upon a time, Ohio State won a national title with 3 different quarterbacks playing during the season.
Yeah, Cardale Jones, he didn't go there to major in academics. He didn't go to Ohio State to play school.
One of the best quotes.
And now we would say...
He's not supposed to be saying that.
Oh, now?
It's the truth.
Now it's no big deal.
It really isn't.
It's par for the course.
Give the star quarterback $1 million and watch him change schools.
I mean,
$2 million.
I did the thing on Friday, and Keithy will tell you the NIL played a decision. Well, sure.
Of course it did.
Why wouldn't
It's a lot of money.
Who cares? I mean, yeah, I get you. Oh, and it was classic. So I'm standing there, and we're up on a stage, and the folks are down below, and they've got these huge 4 spotlights, so it's hard to see into the crowd, right? Some lady, before we're getting started, comes up, and she's got a business, and she may be interested. Well, those 3 players, man, they couldn't have gotten to that gal fast enough.
Hold on, I'll be right there.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, here's my cell. To lay out, standing right there.
Yeah. And this is not your first NIL experience and not your last.
And yeah, I don't blame any of those guys. This is cash. So go ahead and do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going to come of it, but she said I may have interest in your services, and boy, all 3 of them got up and went right to her. Yeah. I think Tafuna was first because he was bigger than the other 2.
Out of the way, boys.
Tafuna tossed him out of the way.
Move along.
Like they were little toys.
Keithy's a decent-sized guy. Singer's on the smaller side. So, yeah, he just...
So what was your impression of Singer? Because we all wonder, we've talked about Utah wide receivers forever. What if they were better? Impact guy, making big plays so the quarterback doesn't have to do as much.
He's a sharp kid.
Yeah.
He's been around. Grew up in Minnesota, Went and played at Pinnacle. I've talked to you about Pinnacle as in high school.
Pinnacle is a high school down in Arizona, but a little bit of an athletic factory.
Yeah, they're really good. What's his face? Who's the
Nico
quarterback?
Mannion, Paces Mannion's kid,
Spencer
went there.
Rattler.
Spencer Rattler went there.
They were both there at the same time.
And this is just a partial list of the
and
names
then
you
there's
recognize
Deuce
from
Robinson,
Pinnacle.
who's a stud at SC.
Let's just put it this way. Every year they've got somebody coming out that's...
And so he had a coach or somebody he knew because it was the COVID thing, and he played. And
so he goes to Arizona to play for a year of high school football.
Yeah. And he had Utah was on him, but then he felt like the COVID thing was out the door. Then they had another scholarship offer, but then the coach got fired. So he walks on at Arizona, and he blows up. He has over 1,000 yards. Goes to SC last year, and he didn't have 300 yards, and he felt like it was Williams had his guys. I'm sure SC has a different
story, right? Yeah.
And since he had a positive impression of Utah
from the recruiting the first time around,
prior, and you have a lot of that. He's not literal bounce back, but you're having a bunch. And I was speaking to the ASU athletic director down in Vegas last week, and we're talking about in-state recruiting. And he said, we still have a long way to go there because we haven't made a mark. What we've been able to do is get the bounce back kid, and they have gotten several kids who played there, went someplace else.
I'm going to leave the Heat. I'm going to go somewhere else. Turns out the grass isn't greener, or they have a coaching change or whatever.
Any number of reasons. Yeah, it might be a family issue.
It's time to come home.
So they've been able to get several guys that way. Don't get them right out of high school, and we'll see over time if the program gets going. Maybe they can get them the first time around. But Singer is sort of that way. He never was. I said, you're coming home to a place you haven't been. And he acknowledged, he knew what I was getting at. He's a smart kid, but I'm skeptical. Nothing against him. It has nothing to do with him. It's just the last 10, 15 years I've been hearing about this guy, and
it hasn't panned out, right?
Yeah.
Figures that somebody will do it at some point. But who and when?
But at the same time,
why would you bet on this guy this year?
They have utilized the tight ends a lot more, so that's impacting their lack of production on the outside. But if you did pick out a receiver and all that stuff, I mean, if Devon Vele makes the NFL, and hopefully he does, he ought to send a little stipend to Bryson Barnes because those two hooked up.
Yeah.
Once they got rid of the Cam Rising drama last year, and this is according to Devon, not us.
No, Devon Vele came on our air,
Yeah. And
they were rotating quarterbacks, and he said
it was in practice.
Yeah, he needed more time in practice with whoever was going to be the guy so they could sharpen things.
Right.
And he said it, and it kind of raised our eyebrows. But a few weeks later, when it's all happened, all of a sudden he's got more catches and more yards.
Yeah.
And he backed it up.
Right. So, when you're coming in here for a one-year deal, it's kind of hard. How many kids have come in? Because he did that at Arizona. He was awesome. Singer. Statistics will bear it out. And then he goes to SC, and you're playing for the Heisman guy, the number one pick, and pretty much nothing. So what do we got here? Is there enough time to go in that direction?
Quarterbacks do have guys, and to your point, Cam Rising's had a lot of success throwing to Keithy.
And then Kincaid.
There's guy one. Right. Now, at least Kincaid's gone. He can't throw to Kincaid, in Buffalo now. So, but with the focus on tight ends, we'll see.
Yeah, and Keithy's, in my mind, prior to the injury, pre-injury, just as good as Kincaid was. And plus, they've got two or three other guys that are really good.
The tight end assembly line looks like it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
Kyle was talking about tight ends at Big 12 Media Day, and he just couldn't stop. He was naming every tight end on the roster.
They've got like 5 guys.
Yeah.
Really, I think sometimes we overblow the depth, but not at that position. And King, the kid, the UCLA transfer, what's his name, Ryan? They got a lot, and I know I'm leaving off a couple other guys, but they've got some guys there, so that may impact it. Which, from the team perspective, who cares? If the ball's in the end zone, you don't care who's on the other end of it. It doesn't.
Get in the end zone 5 or 6 times a game.
If
and
you're
fine.
parents, you might care. The impact.
No, if your parents, you definitely care.
Your pro career.
Yeah.
Your pro chances anyway. But I remain skeptical. And they got the Pittman is back, right? And then they got another receiver that they got for transfer. I mean, they got all these guys, and just because you have them, there's got to be some relationship there. We've seen it over and over and over again. BYU too. Max Hall to Dennis Pitta. That was a constant theme we saw. And then they marry sisters. So must have been something going. Just keep it in the family on 3. Family on 3.
I thought we were talking football.
They got new. When they said family on 3, they meant it.
We will take this commitment to the next level.
So, but Singer, he's got a chip. If you want somebody who has a chip, Singer's got it. There's no doubt. He knows. He knows he had big time things in Arizona, and then it
didn't work in L.A., and he's got something to prove, and he knows people doubt, and he knows why, and he can't say anything because the production wasn't there.
Right.
So he's got to go do it.
Right. But talking to him, I like what he had to say.
Okay, you've heard a lot about guys, this guy, but you haven't really fully believed in a guy, with the possible exception of Devon Vele, but he was limited by what was going on at
I always
quarterback.
thought Devon Vele was underutilized.
I know. But he was limited in when he should have had this awesome final year. He'd been in the program. He was all set up for a big year. They don't have Cam.
I don't think they needed Cam Rising for him to have a better season.
He still could have had a better year.
The situation. He was a good player, and I said it 2 years ago.
Throw it to him,
And the NFL backed me up by drafting him.
Yes, but they threw it to Kincaid.
Yeah, and they run.
Yeah.
So there's only so many plays in a game. They don't toss the ball to the wideouts 35 times a game like other programs do. And Vele knew that going in. He wasn't complaining about it. He was just telling you, this is what we do. So if I don't like it, well, that's on me. I knew going into the program what the program was about. And I'm not so sure that I see it changing. And if you got a great group of tight ends, the thing might be different this year. Cam's got all sorts of experience. So whatever Ludwig has in the playbook, now's the time to use it. Because you'll literally
never have
a kid with this type of experience. And Andy's around 60, so I don't know how much longer he's going to coach. And you're never going to have this much experience. So go ahead and toss the ball around. Do whatever you got to do. And people may not know this. Keithy ran for over 1,000 yards in high school his senior year. And for good measure, if they didn't get the first down, he punted. He was the punter. So, I mean, and we saw him line in the backfield a little bit there. Would have been basically 3 years ago now, because he got injured in the first conference game 2 years ago. And then obviously he didn't play last year. So we got to go back to the 2021 season. And I asked the three of them, hey, I love to ask the seniors, did it go by fast? And of course they'll say, yeah. And Keithy said, well, yeah, it's kind of strange. I thought it went by fast. I thought I was done 3 years ago. And here I am still here.
Get him a rim shot.
Yeah.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. The Jazz spend some money, and they're going to have to spend some more money. You like the way they're spending it? We'll get to that next. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
It's what you want.
You know, I was babysat until 8th grade. Dolores Arnold used to babysit me every day after school. And
Dolores?
Her husband, yeah.
Look, you got like 220-pound 8th grade hands.
Can we not focus on that?
You walk in like, hey, Dolores. Hi, Hans. I think it's funny the thought of a 8th grade Hans Olsen probably pushing 2 bills, sitting in and being babysat.
You guys let me know when you're done so I can finish my story.
Tell us more about Dolores.
Anyways, her husband, Don, liked MASH.
Sitting next to Don on the couch watching MASH.
Hey, Don, can I borrow your shaver?
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Yak, why'd you pick the band of the day today?
Yeah, it's Creedence Clearwater Revival, if I can get the words out of my mouth correctly. On this day in 1968, their self-titled debut album came out.
Oh, I remember, man. I was at Tower Records at midnight.
I'm sure you were. Right there in line, right at the front.
Tower Records. Used to be these ads that ran over and over in San Diego. D-O-W Dow. Go down there and get all kinds of audio stuff. Cassette tapes. Only whatever the price was. D-O-W Dow. Live Nation bringing you the band of the day. Creedence Clearwater Revival. For all the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com. All right, the question today was all about the Utes, but you did put up question today, part 2. Jazz lock up Johhny Juzang with a 4-year deal. Is it a good move? Joe, this franchise is a joke from the top to the bottom.
And everything in between, I might add.
And the worst part is the community is going to give a billionaire tax money to restore an arena that doesn't need it. At least it doesn't need it until an owner and GM pull their head out and put an actual NBA team on the floor.
Well, if you're going to restore something, does that mean it was already there at one time?
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think they're restoring anything.
They're reconfiguring.
Yeah. So get your words right and get back to me.
That's a Jim Calhoun, people. Stay with the classic quotes.
And Steve Cleveland played golf with Jim Calhoun.
Get your facts straight.
Down there at Hilton Head. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. It's just your town, your city. I'll be long gone, so I'm not worried about it. But I was surprised that they re-upped him for 4 years. I didn't think he showed enough to where they thought that he would be a rotational player 3 years from now.
I haven't seen the breakdown on how front-loaded this is or isn't. Under the theory that he shot it a little bit at the end of the year when, there's pressure on him individually because he's trying to stay in the NBA. But, those were not the biggest games. They were dumping games at the end. So put as much value as you want into that. But he shot it pretty well at the end of the season. So lock him up, and then if he is something, because everybody's looking for shooters, you got him, especially if you front load it. They are like $15 million, round numbers, but $15 million below the salary floor. They've got to spend the money on somebody. So if they gave him $12 million and they front loaded it a little bit, what do you got to lose? Seems like a pretty safe gamble for a guy who shot 41% from 3 last year. With the salary cap.
Well, what are you looking to accomplish, though?
Hopefully you find a shooter and you have him really inexpensively and you have him tied up for 4 years.
Okay, you can hope all you want.
Role guy, but it's like you're looking for guy 1 and 2, and he's guy day 9, 10, 11 or something.
And that surprised me. They would lock up a guy who's 9, 10, 11 for 4 years. Yeah. I would think those guys would be interchangeable. And why make a commitment to somebody?
Well, if he can sustain 41% shooting, then they figure he isn't interchangeable. Everybody wants those guys. But you're right. If he drops back to 37%,
so he's going to be a rotational player in your mind. Because if he can sustain 41% and he's not a rotational player, who cares?
Yeah. My guess is, they're just betting $2 million he will be, and $2 million with the new TV money coming in, they don't care. They're like, it's worth the gamble.
They don't care about money either way.
They do. You got to budget all of this.
But this is peanuts.
It is, and that's the reason to lock him up, because it's peanuts.
I don't think, no.
But to your point,
I lock him up if I think he's going to be a player 3-4 years from now. I don't think that he will be. I don't know that he will be. My guess would be no.
Brandon, that was the big Danny Ainge free agency plan. I'm starting to lose faith.
No,
and of course
Drew Eubanks was the big free agent.
Loose faith.
This is just retaining one of your own guys.
Hector, yes, 2 exclamation points. You need guys like this, and then build it up, hopefully.
Don't they have enough guys like this? Haven't they already cornered the market on that?
They don't have enough guys who can shoot 40%, if he can sustain it. Scott, doesn't move the needle for me.
You just look at a stat, and it becomes such a big deal to you. At what level has he proven that he can shoot 40% in games that matter?
That's where I started this. He didn't shoot it in games that matter.
Then why bring it up?
Because they haven't played the games that matter. They have to evaluate guys on the games they played. They haven't played games that mattered in 3 years now.
I disagree. The first half of the season, when the place is going nuts, to them, those games mattered.
Okay, well, to that point, the games mattered to Johhny Juzang. He was feeling pressure to stay in the NBA. You don't get to be on two-way contracts forever. He did it twice. Time to fish or cut bait. So he did enough to get the 4-year deal. So there was pressure on him individually to extend his NBA career.
Yeah, I don't see it.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone, and it is time to begin in an Open Championship week to qualify people for our UNA Golf Major Giveaway. Be caller 12 right now at 801-575-ZONE, and you'll be assigned a golfer in this week's Open Championship at Royal Troon. If your golfer wins, you'll be rewarded by our friends at UNA Golf, who've been serving Utah golfers since 1971. DJ and PK, do it right now. Caller 12, 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. We will get our first qualifier. Steve Cleveland joins us next. BYU has got a lot of talent from all over the globe. Now, quickly melded into a cohesive team. That's next. Stay with us.